Hi everyone, in this video I'll be talking about how can you build a culture of continuous improvement in your workplace. Now the views expressed on this video is purely from the perspective of me working for a company for 3 years plus, oil and gas company that I've learned a lot from their culture of continuous improvement in the workplace. And I'd like to share this with you. Now I realize that like people who have management positions within the company, it can be really tricky in terms of building a continuous improvement workplace culture, because every one of us have our day-to-day tasks, and not only that, sometimes when we think about continuous improvement, we think about, oh crap, like if I want to have continuous improvement culture, does that mean I'll be spending longer and longer hours at work? Well, here are the things that I've come across which I think will help dispel that myth. Now, the first thing about continuous improvement culture is that you have to be able to ask yourself, are you producing anything or doing any task in the workplace that is not contributing to the value? For example, are you producing reports that nobody looks at? Are you producing things that used to be necessary in the past but now is no longer necessary? Or are there things that you can begin to automate yourself that right now would save you a lot of hours going forward? Now the first step is elimination of things that don't give value. And this can be done when you look through, if you prepare a task list of the tasks that you need to do, and the tasks and then the days when these tasks are due, and also the time that's taken for this particular task, then you begin to realize that there are certain things on the list itself that may take longer than is expected when you compare to perhaps your colleagues, or depending what that job scope is, that you may start to target that these are the areas that may want to look at areas of either eliminating it, unnecessary work, or automation of this particular work that should free up your time. Now, assuming that you have successfully eliminated those unnecessary tasks or automated them, now you have X amount of free time. Now, this free time can be used to sort of analyze what are the areas that are driving business results in your company or your KPI, and then this time can be devoted into then running experiments, or even testing out new things, or even doing initiatives that can help you generate results down the line. So this two-step method is a method which helps people to sort of like not spend crazy amounts of hours at work, at the same time achieve continuous improvement in your workplace. For someone that's working in a company for about 3 years, I realized that continuous improvement culture is something that is incredible if you can cultivate it from the top to the bottom. And I realized this when I stepped in the company, when I first joined the company, right until I left, which is about 3 years plus later. I realized that I may have forgotten about the company's mottos, the company's goals, but the only thing I remembered was this. I remember this culture of continuous improvement. I remember the culture of questioning whether we need to do certain things, whether they added value, or how could we begin to add more value to the company. And I realized that when you have a culture that is so entrenched in the continuous improvement, it has to be a culture that comes from top-down management, from top to bottom, where everybody just embodies that culture, that embodies that thinking, that encourages anybody that newly joins their company to also adopt that thinking as well. And this is by, this first mindset of eliminating things that are unnecessary and also adding things that are of value to the company that could improve results. Now, nowadays, I realize that in the workplace that people hire us for the things that we can do, and not only that, they're looking for things that we can do above and beyond the things that they hire us. That is where we, now as employees, if we are able to demonstrate we continuously can do that, we have this sort of negotiating power and also leverage across our employers, where we can begin to say, not only I can do the normal day-to-day tasks, but because I can know how to get you results that is above and beyond from anybody else, then that becomes your sort of like your bargaining chip when it comes for like better promotions, increments, or even job opportunities as well. Now, another thing I noticed from a management standpoint when it comes to creating a culture of continuous improvements was this. I noticed that we had a meeting every sort of I think it was bi-weekly or monthly, where we had this sort of like a star chart on our board, where each points of the star was supposed to dictate aspects of the performance that we are as a team should be reporting for. Now, since that role I was working in the company was a finance role reporting position, handling multiple country stakeholders, so each analyst that handles each individual country would then report based on the star itself, like, what is working, what isn't working. Or as a team, we collectively decided, okay, the aspects of this star, some of it was either green, yellow, or red. Green means we are confident, we don't have any issues around it. Yellow means we need a lot of work around it. We still think we are okay, but we still think there's areas to be improved. Now, red means code red alert. We are in danger, we need help, we are facing problems in this area. Now, whenever we had this monthly meetings itself, each of these analysts will quickly go through like what are the things that were great and not so great that they need help with. Now, we realized that as a team, when we had these monthly sharings, very quickly, and we did this sharing standing up, which meant that we would not be spending crazy amounts of time in meetings. Rather than these meetings would take probably like about 10 to 15 minutes. Everybody would go through quickly, their sort of summary. And we will highlight areas that we did well at, that we have, sort of did improvements for our own stakeholders. And then this will be then shared with the rest of our team members so they also could replicate it. And the areas where we find that we're struggling or we need help, that is when, team managers or senior team managers can give their input as to what can we do better, or we can then sort of take that discussion offline and then address it as well. So I realized when we have a continuous sort of culture of giving very quick meetings about how we are doing as a team, this fosters, we have now understanding of what everybody in the team is actually doing, how we can begin to leverage out of each other's efforts, and also how can we begin to work well as a team together. Now, another aspect of this continuous improvement culture, which I noticed in this particular company I worked for, was they had a very regular sort of one-on-one meetings between team members and also the team managers. And I realized that, some companies, I begin to understand that they have their reviews at either half year or at the end of the year. That means they have it like only once a year or twice a year. And I realized that when we have a somewhat regular communication schedule between our team members and team managers, it can be like a 5-minute meeting saying that, here are the things that is happening. What are the things that is problem right now, and what can we go forward going then? What this regular monthly meetings actually does for the team itself is that it fosters communication between team manager and team member. And when we have suggestions that we have on how things can improve, because we have that constant interaction, it sort of fosters somewhat like a warmer relationship between team member and team manager. And then, if both parties have anything they want to bring up or they want to highlight a problem that they need help in, they're working forward to the solution, then, we can help this process go a lot smoother. I think some majority of companies that sometimes have their reviews either once a year or twice a year, the problem that happens during the course of like when the last annual review was held and when the next annual review was held, a lot of things could have gone through between these two time periods. And sometimes even like people may not even remember like what are the things that they've done. Or even if someone has something to say, by the time they keep track of the performance of the other person, it may have been like 6 months to 1 year, and by then, maybe that doesn't really help from a continuous improvement perspective. I feel that when we're talking about continuous improvement, there must be a way of fostering communication between colleagues itself that gives a very safe environment for people to sort of express themselves, express ideas, tell upfront what is it that they feel that they should be working towards and improving. And in the long run, I think it does help foster a very solid, cohesive team culture within the organization. Now, if we are having a culture of continuous improvement, many a times that when we are going through tasks that can help us to continuously improve, we may face setback, we may face challenges. And when we foster a sort of culture where people have this sort of like regular sort of communication through a monthly meeting, they can take place for like 5 minutes, it doesn't have to be that long. What it does is that whenever we stumble across problems, we can highlight it out more quickly. And we don't have to wait until the next formal review that goes on. And most of the time when people work in companies that strive for continuous improvement, we want to know that at some level we are seen and we are heard as employees that are striving to do better, and maybe even from the team manager perspective as in they see how can we improve as individuals, how can we add more value to the company, and also that also mean that we are going to do better in the annual review as well. So I feel that this practice of this regular communication between team member and team manager is something I found really useful as well. Now, another item which I noticed when I was working with this company was effective is that whenever someone has a win, like someone has a small continuous improvement sort of achievement, we as a team celebrate it. No matter how small it is or how big it is, we celebrate it as a team, and then we share it without the team during our team meetings as well. Now, I believe what it does is that it fosters a sort of unspoken culture is that we see people that focuses on continuous improvement. We see that happening. We want to reward them for it. In their annual review, they get higher points that could lead them to better bonuses and things like that, which I think is fair. And also, we want to inspire the team as a whole, as in if one person can do something, maybe we can replicate that improvement that they have done across the board, or we can begin to have this culture where we see someone doing something and striving very hard. Naturally, it pulls the energy of the team up. Everybody now starts to want to feel like they also can contribute the same amount or even more as the other person who has contributed already. So I believe that whenever we celebrate the small successes as a team itself, we iterate that across the board, we share that in a regional team meeting, what we're doing is we are reinforcing behavior over and over again. We're reinforcing the behavior that we want to see in a team, which is continuous improvement is rewarded, is being we are recognizing the people that try so hard to go above and beyond their job scopes and to strive for continuous improvement. So these are basically the tools that I've come across during my stint with the company. I really enjoyed working with this company, and it wasn't just because of the incredible colleagues, but also because of the work culture there. And this continuous work culture, I believe I've taken away since working for the company onto my personal life and onto the next company I've worked for. And I realized that when we build a culture of continuous improvement in the workplace, it brings value not only just for the company, but also for people that work for the company as well.